Hello, hello. Good evening. How are you? Welcome to Max Wellness. My name is Erin Maxwell, and I will be guiding you through your meditation this evening and some myofascial release. So, I'm actually going to go ahead and grab a blanket or a little bolster to sit on already. So, maybe you want to do that before we start because we will be meditating for a few minutes. So, a couple of questions before we get started. Explanation on what is myofascial. So, myo means muscle, and fascial is fascia. So, fascia, not like fascia, fascia, FACIA, is everywhere throughout the entire body. So we will be using, if you don't already, I would grab some blocks, any props that you may need. If you even have myofascial balls, or tennis balls, that works also really great to open up your hips. Hang on, I have. Um, because we will be laying on the myofascial balls and or blocks to open up the hip flexors. So I know a lot of us have been sitting at our desk or on our phones, just really different um, body positions than we're used to more in the last year, and also neck and shoulders. So we're also a great place to use blocks, also to open up upper back, chest, and shoulder area. So really gonna be focusing on the joints in the myofascial depth. So versus yin, where we'll be sitting on the blocks for anywhere from 3 to 5 to 10, 20 minutes. So this intention is again focused more on the muscle and fascial tissue versus the dense tendon, ligament, aponeurosis, fascial sheets. So I think that takes care of that. Also, we are entered into my favorite time of year. As we probably already all know, I love the springtime. So we are just coming out of Aries season, which is fire. So yeah, totally crazy, crazy fire season as far as my audience here is making me laugh. So, yes, everyone's hair has been on fire. So now we are entering into Taurus season, and that started on the 19th until May 20th. So, I've seen anywhere from 419 to 420 to 520 for Taurus season, which is the time of indulgence. Yay! My birthday month, so I definitely indulge all month long. So we get to reap the benefits of everything we did during the Aries season, during the fire, the action. And so now, as an earth sign, we get to kind of go on the other end of maybe lots of extra self-care, indulgence in chocolates and wines and yummy foods and things like that, as then we ramp up again to get into the summer months. So let's do a little bit of a meditation first to get us grounded into the earth, into our Taurus, letting go of our Aries fire season, and finding a nice position to sit in, pulling out the flesh from underneath your ischial tuberosities, on your sits bones, the points underneath where your hamstrings originate. Maybe crossing your legs in opposite from what you normally do, and see how that feels. And stacking each vertebrae on top of the other. And you can gently close your eyes or find a nice soft gaze kind of in the portrait mode in your iPhone. If you have the fancy iPhones, you might see where it's focused on the one object and then soft in the background. That is our drishti. That's our soft focus that we're looking for. And you can either have your hands up if you are needing to take in some energy, or palms down for more self-reflection. You can have one palm up, one palm down. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And just begin to notice your breath. Just observing. Taking inventory, noticing how your flesh feels under your seat. What it feels like to have your legs crossed. Noticing if you are breathing into your belly or shallow into only your chest. Softening the face, softening your eyes, softening your forehead, softening your ears, softening your throat. Softening your chest, soften your shoulders, softening your arms, and your forearms, and your fingers, your fingernails. Softening your breath. Let it be easy and fluid as you ground down into the earth. This is a great time of year to go walk barefooted into the grass, connecting, hugging a tree, feeling its energy, letting it take what no longer serves you, taking the ashes away from the burning through our Aries season as we come into this regrowth. Continue to soften your hips, your thighs and your knees, softening your shins, backs of your shins, softening your ankles and your feet, all the way down to the tips of your toes, off your toenails. Finding the fluidity and ease with each breath. Taking time to thank yourself for showing up and being here. Giving yourself some self-care, some self-love. Take a moment to give thanks for all the gratitude that you have, for all the blessings of this breath, of this life, the change in the seasons, the change in your thoughts. Changing the vibration from the lower vibrations to a higher vibration, coming into the season of fresh, yummy fruits and vegetables from the earth, filling our body with rajasic foods and thoughts and sunshine, full of life. nourishing the mind, body, and soul. Maybe in the season you can focus on less TV, less news, more reading and playtime. Continue to sit in your blessings. Let them wash over you. Let them fill up your mind, body, and soul and pour out of you, out into the rest of the world, being the ripple effect of positivity and love. Let your being, your body, your 80% water. Let the vibration be love. Taking a moment to come back into this space and back into this body of being. Gently fluttering open your eyes. Sigh it all out. And let's go ahead and come out of our seated position. You can shimmy shake legs, lengthen your legs out. Feels good and natural in your body. Finding some blocks, we are going to, hang on a second, I have another computer something happening. Okay. Yep. And if you have a blanket, you can move that to the side. Don't let it go too far because as we move into our final Shavasana, we will want to have our blankets. So let's go ahead and come on to all fours, have a block handy. You can probably see mine are a little bit chewed up. It was Izzy McGee. You know, she's a part of me and she's got to have a little taste. So, but they still work. It's still good. Let's actually, before we even do anything with our blocks, let's just come on to all fours and we do a few rounds of cat-cow and warm up our spine and just notice any sticky points as you move through. And going with your breath. You can have your feet flat on the mat or your toes, the balls of your toes, your feet. And just do what feels good in your body, making it round. I think of scraping a barrel, trying to get all the edges of a barrel with my rib cage. Finding your cat-cow with your breath. When you're ready, go ahead and come back into a child's pose. Opening up your knees nice and wide. If you can't get your booty all the way to your heels, you can always use a block as a guide. Lengthening out your arms nice and long. We're gonna open up our shoulders a little bit. You can keep your forearms on the mat. You can always put a block underneath your forehead. If you can get your booty all the way down to your heels. We're going to open up the shoulders. And taking a few breaths, really feel it in your back as you inhale, opening up the lower lobes of your lungs. Remember, we have there's like three chambers in each lung. The right one is bigger than your left because your heart is compressing over the lung. But really opening up and expanding through your back, through the rib cage, through the back, all the way through the front, opening up the belly, pulling the central tendon down to open it up. Really get a full breath in, exhaling, squeezing it all out. Just want to make sure I don't give you a little shot. So change my uniform a little bit. We're going to thread the needle, taking your right arm, threading it underneath your torso. You can keep your forehead on the mat or turn your right ear on the mat. Try to keep both sits bones equal pressure on your heels. You can lengthen out your left arm, pulling your bicep up off the mat, bicep, tricep, if that feels good in your body. Notice where you are today. Every day is different. Breathing into your shoulder, breathing into any areas that might feel sticky, need an extra little love and care. Taking a few more breaths. You can flip your palm in the opposite direction and notice if you feel any difference, different areas in your deltoid, in the posterior. Do you feel it in your middle or in the anterior? On your next inhale, inhale your right arm long to the top of the mat and thread the needle on the other side. Exhale, drawing your left arm underneath your torso. You can leave your forehead on the mat or your left ear on the mat. You can lengthen out your right arm, dropping your shoulder blade down and back, so engaging your serratus anterior and part of your lats. If this is too much, you can always leave your forearm on the mat. And here, flipping your palm in the opposite direction. So if your palm is up, see what it feels like facing down. If available to you. Sinking down a little bit more into your heels. Taking a few more breaths. Opening up the shoulder joint. On your next inhale, lengthen out your arm, nice and long. And exhale, draw your arms back into a falling leaf. So we had them forward, and now we're going to draw them back. So if you were in a child, you had your knees wide, so you're going to bring your knees in together and your arms behind, and forehead on the mat. You can always put a block underneath your forehead. You can put blocks underneath your shoulders. If you have a block under your forehead. Continue to breathe. On your next inhale, coming up in a seated position, bringing out your legs nice and long. We're going to go ahead. We might as well just open up our back now since we were forward. So now let's do the opposite and open up the back. So remember, grab one of your blocks. You can have two of them nearby because, you know, I'm going to give you lots of options. So remember this lunch box. Remember when we were kids, we used to carry lunch box. This way is a crayon box, and this way is a cereal box. So see what feels good for you. You might want to start with one block underneath your bra strap area, just around the tips of your shoulder blades. And you can bring that back. If it feels good to here, maybe I'll lay this way, might see better. You can always put a block underneath your head. If it's too much to have just the block, you can always use one of your towels or a blanket or something to soften it up a little bit. You can put a bolster underneath your knees. So really what we want to focus on is opening up our back. So sitting at desk, if we're not sitting ergonomically at a desk and are all hunched back, so you're squishing down onto your vertebrae. And I like to play, you know, so the starting area again is underneath your shoulder blade, like at the tip bra strap area. You know, and see how that feels. You can always put, I don't have any with me right now, but you can always put some, what do you call, pillows or blankets or towels underneath your forearms here. I kind of like this because it really helps open up shoulder areas. I'm just thinking if you have a shoulder issue, you know, if it's too much, then you want to have a little bit of a support to begin with and then slowly start to pull it away. The block would be too much to start with, but and then play with your arms also. So just see where your arms fall naturally, and then as time goes by, you can start to draw your arms, you know, directly out from your heart, and then start to open up at a 45-degree angle up. So that's really going to get more into pec minor. When you're up in the 45-degree angle, this is pec minor. It comes in here directly out is pec major. Also opens up a little bit of upper traps that go across the shoulders and up into the base of your skull. If it's in your practice, you can always have it without a block underneath your head. So we're always finding and looking for interesting, not painful, not, oh, I think I can muscle through this. No tearing, no shearing, no pulling, no achy, no strained faces. It should all be ooey gooey. And then I'm going to move my block a little bit and see how that feels. You can, where's my third block? Take a block and put it underneath your sacrum. And see how that feels. And that opens up a little bit more of hip flexors. So we're opening up the whole front side body. And breathe. Taking inventory. Let's see, maybe you can graduate from lunchbox to cereal box. And notice how that feels. Did you see that difference right there? If I have a block under my sacrum, so a little bit of support. If you don't have a bolster, you can always bring your feet flat on the floor. Really give into a block out from finding your options. Breathing into the tight spaces. Breathing into the places that need an extra bit of love. Remember, our fascia remembers everything. It holds and stores all of our memories, all of our thoughts, what we feed it, what we fuel our minds, what we fuel our body with. We may find some resistance in places and ease in others. And this is normal and natural as we evolve and progress and change, and at different times, at different rates and speeds, and really depending on how much work you're putting in. You can come out of this shape in this pose and come all the way flat onto your mat. And just notice how you feel in this Shavasana. We have two more shapes before our final Shavasana. So since we're already here, why don't we go ahead and take our block and put it underneath our sacrum. Have your knees flat on the floor. You can, again, see where you're at. If you're at, I know I am not at cereal box. I am at crayon box. I think I'm going to start with lunchbox. And having your knees up, your feet flat on the floor. And then just lengthen out one leg. And see how that feels onto the mat. Lengthen out one leg on the mat. One foot on the floor with your knee bent, and then the opposite leg laying out flat. So you're opening up your hip flexor here. If you're not really feeling anything, that's when you can tip your block up on its side. This is help opening up rib cage and abs. You can inhale your lengthened out leg to meet your right. And stretch out your right leg flat out on the mat. to open up your right hip flexor. See if you can lengthen out both legs. If that feels good and interesting, or if that's too much, drawing one foot flat on the floor. Or bringing your block down one level and see how that feels. If you've evened out both sides, go ahead and remove your block. And lay out into your Shavasana. One more pose, and then our final closing meditation. So coming up and rolling over onto your side, and we're going to come back up onto all fours, kind of how we started in the beginning. And we'll find our block on the crayon box, and bring your right leg up and forward as if you're going to do a lunge. You can either have your back leg nice and long. So we're going to want to bring our block in. So we're going to go on the inside of our hip bones. So finding your hip bones, the bony part of your hips, and then just come on the inside into the flesh, just about 2 inches below. So that's where we're focusing, where we want to have our blocks, and see where it feels interesting. So we'll have this leg out. How are we going to do this? How did I do that before? Oh, it was so great in my mind. How did I do that? How did I do that? I had balls is what I had. Ooh. Nope. Nope, we're not going to do that. I can't remember how I did that now. Isn't that funny? This was my build-up. Okay, well, we'll move on. We'll still do it because we're going to do lizard. So we'll just do lizard without our block. Bringing your right foot forward, left leg back. You can have it nice and wide, and then tilt your knee out to the side. So shooting out towards the side, your right hand inside. Pulling right hip back, left hip forward. Lengthen out your back. So if you're up like a cat, if you have a Halloween cat, see if you can lengthen out your back, lengthen out your belly, lengthen out your spine. So Vicky, look. Vicky, so you're here. See if you can come here. So pull through with your chest and lengthen your spine out. Yes. Might as well go ahead and go into pigeon pose, bringing your right foot over towards your left wrist, keeping your left leg nice and long, sitting up nice and tall first. So we want to lengthen out our back again. Good. And sit up and take a nice big inhale. And exhale. If you want, you can start to come down on your forearms or onto your block. Have a block under your forehead. Lots of emotions here. This is the intersection in between the upper and lower half of our body. powerhouse. Taking a few more breaths. Start to play and see what feels interesting. And just melt into the pose. Take 2 more breaths. Gently, slowly coming up and out of the shape, pushing yourself up, drawing your leg back. Maybe come into a downward facing dog, pedaling out your feet left and right, right and left. On your next inhale, bringing your left leg forward, right leg nice and long as if you're into a low lunge. You can have your foot on, your back foot on the mat, your shin, and draw your left foot nice and wide outside of the mat, and then you can push your knee out. So feel a little bit in your hip flexor and the outside of your, can you see that? So left hand inside, left foot, your left foot is on the outside or edge of your mat. Right leg nice and long. You could always come down to a block to your forearms. Taking a couple more breaths. And we'll come all the way into pigeon. Drawing your left foot across the mat towards your right wrist. And sink your right leg back a little bit more, nice and long. And coming all the way down at your pace. Continue to breathe and open up space. Finding the fluidity and freedom. Keep breathing. Sometimes you may feel a little shift or some emotions come up. And that is quite normal and okay. And you may not feel anything, you may just feel the stretch. Just creating space. new place to move forward. Take a couple more breaths. And when you're ready, gently and slowly coming out of this shape, you can go ahead and shimmy shake. And do what feels good and get ready for your final Shavasana. So find all your bolsters, blankets, pillows, and everything that you may need for the best ooey gooey Shavasana of the night, of the day, of the morning, whenever your practice. And coming all the way down onto the mat into your final corpse pose. Dead man's pose means we're all of that twisting and shearing. No shearing. We were not shearing. We're releasing is what we were doing. That is now left on the mat. We've created that. We've burned that. We use the energy to burn and let go and release into the ash, into the air. Let it fly away. Let it be buried into the earth to be recycled for new and different energies. Coming back into this place of indulgence for this Taurus season. Taking a moment to thank yourself for this time and space of love and self-care, for sharing your energy with all of us and with the universe. I hope that you enjoyed this class as much as I enjoyed teaching it and guiding it. A friendly reminder of your daily blessings, your daily journaling, meditation, and breath. We are almost at the end. April of awesome asana in our 8 limbs of yoga. So I hope that you continue to move through for the next, I believe, 10 days. I think there's 10 days left in April. Moving your asana, whether it's in a yin pose, whether it's a 5-minute flow, legs up the wall, a forward fold, those all count for awesome asana all April long. Beginning of May, we will journey into the 4th limb of pranayama and our breath. Awesome asana has set us up for our meditations and our breath work. So stay tuned for the next couple of months before we continue to move through. You may stay here as long as you like. I highly encourage an extra long Shavasana, even if I have tuned out. I want you to continue to tune in. Otherwise, you could roll over onto your favorite side, gently, slowly pushing yourself up, letting your head come up last, sitting in a cross-legged position, maybe different from how we started. Bringing your hands to heart center, letting your thumbs press gently against your chest, near your sternum, in your light. It has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon on the mat, in the Zoom room, on the gram. You can follow me and get newsletters, sign up for the weekly newsletters, monthly blogs. We have it all. We'll have some workshops coming up. I'm working on some weekend workshops. So let me know if there's anything that you have questions about, what you want to learn, what you want to focus on. I have quite a few swirling around in my brain. So, I'm always open to suggestions. So with all of that, thank you so much. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.